Okay, everybody, we are live. This is our Power Watch, of course, episode
10.
510. I said 510.
And we're live with a special guest with us. I think you've been with us once or twice before. Is that no?
Not
behind the scenes.
Yeah, she's family. She's even in the credits lineups and everything like that. But anyway, let me turn it over to lovely.
Yes. So we are talking about Power, the season finale. We just had a watch party here. Good food, good drinks, good snacks. We watched the episode for about the 50 millionth time, and man, the finale was definitely didn't disappoint. But before we get into that, let's just get into introductions. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
Tanya.
And of course, I'm Ron.
Yes, and we're definitely going to discuss a lot about what happened. We're going to get predictions. And of course, this is live. So if you guys feel the need to chime in, just go ahead and start chatting with us. And we'll, periodically check in with our chat and try to interact with you guys as well.
And one more thing, guys. I know it looks like it's 3 against 1. But what I can say that this young lady over here, Tanya, she's a little more on the moderate side. So there may be some times you hear her agree with me, because these two are here.
But
it ain't
he got some reinforcement.
Yeah,
now,
he's always looking for somebody to agree with him.
It's not agreement. She's a sensitive, intelligent, analytical woman, and it just so happens that she and I.
And we're not.
I didn't say that. See?
The inference is
No inference. Just making a comment.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and dive into conversation about the season finale. It kind of opens up with Angie, and she has, of course, been pulled into interrogation, and she's getting grilled, of course, and they're waiting for her to flip on Ghost, and of course, she tells them she needs 24 hours. Her lawyer this week, Gary Dourdan, he makes an appearance. We ain't seen him in a while. He's an actor from the 90s, and he's starting to make a good comeback. I'm just saying, look.
He was a CSI.
He's a CSI, but what I remember him from is seeing him when he used to come on a different world. Yeah, so that's why I remember him.
Yeah, he's been around since then.
Well, Tiffany knows. I don't watch CSI. But it was definitely good to see him. MC Light also had an appearance this week. It was good seeing her in the acting role. She's a really good actress. But anywho, he's playing Angela's lawyer, and he's advising her to take a deal. And Angie is kind of like, okay, I need to think this out.
I think she should have stuck with her lawyer. Her lawyer said, he wanted complete immunity.
Yeah.
Struggle to get that word out. He wanted complete immunity, and then she, in deep space, comes out and says, give me 24 hours. Because when you say that kind of implicates you. Like you got something to think about. She should have just kept her mouth quiet, let him fight with the immunity aspect and say, look, either immunity or nothing. She should have just let it stay at that. I don't think she should have said, give me 24 hours.
Well, she wanted to talk with her family and everything. That's the excuse she used, at least. And I mean, they gave her the time, so why not? And that gave her just enough time. She needed to come up with a plan, because you see, she went and got Tommy, Ghost, Tasha. This is the first time we've ever seen them all together.
They didn't arrest her. They had really nothing on her except conjecture. And I would have said, hey, I'm walking out with my lawyer. If you got anything else.
But she needed that time to get everybody together and make sure they were all on the same page. Because just like Sax was saying, and Angie mentioned it too, she said if none of us flip, then they have nothing.
And also Cooper said they got nothing unless somebody starts talking. So I 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other.
Exactly.
But I think that time was absolutely necessary for her, because had she not spoke up to say, hey, this is what I need, her lawyer would have been saying, okay, it's just absolute immunity. But at the same time, he would have been pressured to say, okay, you guys need to do something right now. Mm-hmm. She needs to talk. So I think she did the right thing.
I agree.
I think so too.
I think I would have taken the time too.
But they had nothing on her. They really had nothing.
Yeah, they don't.
So there's only so much pressure you can put on her.
Right, but still, sometimes you need time to just regroup and think about things before you respond.
But they wouldn't have arrested her right then and there, because they had nothing on her. So she would have left, and she would have still had the time. I'm just simply saying is, rather than bringing that kind of implication to yourself, I would have just said, hey, look, they got nothing. I have nothing. We have nothing until you do.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but how about at the meetup when Tommy's out there passing notes? let's kill this week.
Tommy, we all know Tommy wants her dead like
yesterday.
last
season,
exactly.
2 seasons, the first season.
He hates her.
Right.
Yes. And of course, Tasha had to chill out, calm him down. But I also when Angie first walked in, they had to check her for the wire. And they were like,
not you, Ghost.
Yeah, they didn't want him to have any of that good feel, Mr. Goodfield.
And also because they don't trust Ghost to tell the truth.
Oh, I think
even if she was wearing a wire.
No, I think if she were wearing a wire, he would definitely say something. I mean, because it implicates everybody if she's wearing a wire.
Yeah. Right, but everybody knows that Ghost has a soft spot for her.
Right,
that's why you're like, no, we got this.
No, they didn't want him touching and feeling all over. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sexual thing. I don't think that had much to do with she wearing a wire.
It had everything to do with his judgment too.
Right.
Oh, that's the Ghostbuster for if you remember.
Whatever. It had everything to do with his judgment.
No, but the judgment. I don't think that there's no way that Ghost would have allowed her to keep a wire on.
Oh, of course not.
So that's my point. So it wasn't that she was wearing a wire and they didn't want him to try to find it because they didn't think he would do the job. I just think that obviously they knew the sexual affair that they had, the relationship that they have. They just didn't want him putting his hands on it.
Again, it goes back to his judgment.
It goes back to his judgment. It's compromise. And that's what that was. Why would Tommy care about whether he wants to get off with Angie or not? He doesn't. His wife would, but Tommy also said, no, not you. They said it at the same time.
I think Tommy is also saying that because Tommy also knows that he doesn't want Ghost touching her either. He'd rather have her dead. So, and another thing, I think he's also protecting Tasha because he has a tendency to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so at the end of this meeting, they come up with it. Well, Angela, she comes up with this grand plan that is going to clear everybody's name. And so her theory is that if Tasha goes and talks with Keisha, calms her down, Keisha won't talk, and then Angela will deal with Dre and get him to implicate the Jimenez in Mike Sandoval's murder and Lobos' murder. Now,
and Ghost is supposed to deal with Proctor.
And exactly. So, initially I thought that plan might not have worked, but it appeared, that it was going well for Angie. She met up with Dre. Now, I don't know that Angela should have done that. Because we all know that Dre, he's a little shiesty himself. He could have done anything to her in that room.
Yeah, but that was a point of convenience for actually both of them, but more for Dre because Dre at that point in time.
He was desperate. But Angela wasn't aware of the fact that Alicia had just sent hitters to his house to shoot him and his baby and the baby moms up. Lucky for Dre, he had some quick thinking in that scene where he was able to take everybody out.
Oh, he's a hitter for real.
Dre was showing his skill.
Obviously, he can do more than one thing at a time.
Because he was butterball.
Multitasking.
Multitask on that. I'm hitting it, but I still got one eye.
He stays on ready.
Right. But I thought Dre was real grimy for telling Angie he only needed WITSEC for him and his daughter and not
that was
mom.
grimy.
Right.
Dre get the hands this week.
Dre is on the hands for that. Yes,
absolutely.
Because the one thing that I think the difference because he's supposed to be Ghost 2.0. At least Ghost will take care of home sometimes. Ghost will always look out. He has the intentions.
Did I hear you correctly?
Ghost always has the intentions to look out for his family. It don't always work out like that.
No, but the intent of looking out
for
his family.
But does it always work out?
Well, we know that there are circumstances to everything. There's a variable in every math equation or you wouldn't have one.
And you heard them say that Ghost looks out for himself first, though.
They
said that.
Tasha.
They did. Tasha too.
And Angie.
And Angie.
Yeah, and Angie.
So
all of them.
Again, we're in a
But
situation.
Tasha thinks about the family most. At least she'll look out for the family first.
Well, I'm going to tell you how that doesn't work out. Let me tell you how that doesn't work out. If Tasha is going to be as conniving, as snaky as she is, and then to be a killer of sorts, because she's just as much a killer as anybody else, you can't be thinking about your little daughter or your son because there's always a chance it'll backfire. And if it does, you're in the dirt. You're pushing up daisies, and you got 2 kids that, go to Ghost?
Well.
According to you all, that's not a good look.
It's not. And even comparing that to Dre's situation, I don't know why he wouldn't want the baby mother around because he's in the life. Who's gonna watch out for the baby?
Who's gonna watch the baby? That's what I thought. I was like, wow.
I did not understand. I guess that was an impulsive decision that he made.
I don't know.
And he was only thinking about himself and his daughter.
Clearly.
But
he said, don't worry about the mother. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, after he was just all up in the sauce.
But I'll tell you something, though. As heinous as that may sound, you get more people involved in that witness protection program, you're more vulnerable because of the fact that even though you're not supposed to get in touch with any of your past, that once you're in that program, you're supposed to literally disappear. Can he really trust the mother's daughter to do just that?
We haven't seen much of her story. This is our first time even seeing her.
But you leave her vulnerable because if you leave her without protection, now people are coming at her looking for help.
And did y'all see the way she was saying?
That's foul.
Right, but based on his response, I don't think he cares.
No, he didn't care. No,
and that's what I'm saying. That's why I think he's grinding.
Mostly about his daughter.
Right,
absolutely.
He and his daughter. But at the same token, you get her involved, and she's got to at some point talk to mommy or talk to somebody, and then she's making phone calls, and next thing you know.
I'm not too sure that girl ain't already. You seen the way she was handling them dudes?
She sure did.
Up in the room.
She sure did. She held her own. She did hold her own.
Hey, if you had to be, I believe it alone. But yeah, she was right on.
Yeah, she was, and of course, who Drago running to, but 2-Bit running his mouth. And if you are going to be a snitch, don't tell nobody you gonna snitch.
And especially 2-Bit. You know 2-Bit is not
already on outs with you.
Exactly.
Right.
He's on the outs with you.
I don't think he really knows that 2-Bit is on the outs.
Well, 2-Bit's already. He's been giving him the eye for a few weeks now.
He's been giving him the eye, but he's been meeting with Kane and other people behind his
back.
So he doesn't know that 2-Bit is really like
exactly.
But he does know that
there's some contention there.
A lot of it, and that he's really vying for his position at some point or another. So there's only so much you would tell 2-Bit.
Yeah, I think he's still looking at him like that's his boy because they were boys first before he elevated him.
But at the same time, he's violating the rules of the game.
He is. Oh, definitely. I agree with that.
Right. In fact, for the most part, the street law has all been but desecrated in this whole situation because nobody's following street law.
Exactly. Yeah, and of course, 2-Bit goes and tells Tommy. Now, I thought that Tommy and 2-Bit might eventually start working together. I kind of seen that happening since Kanan is out the picture now. I figured that that's like the natural choice. Go and team up with Tommy, and it ended up happening. So that's one prediction that I think we probably called. That was right on.
Yeah.
And Tommy is ready to shoot 2-Bit in broad daylight.
Yeah, he was. Because
for real, anything.
But for real,
kill a stray dog.
This is his man, and you would be suspicious of somebody's boy coming up.
Right. He said you got some balls coming up here.
Yeah, you're like, well, what is it in for you, or is this a setup?
Yeah, that's true too. But he said I got some information that could save your life. Tommy was like, oh, I'm listening.
Right.
I'm all ears. So that whole instance went down. Tommy was ready to take Dre out. 2-Bit also told Tommy about what Dre and Ghost had been working on behind the scenes, with Dre taking out Jason and Ghost
Diego.
Supposed to be taking out Diego. So Tommy is aware of that whole situation now, which I've been called that Tommy would not be happy with that information. With Ghost trying to take out his connect.
You're right. Because once again, as we were talking offline, we talked about in season 2 how Ghost took out his entire New York network and it left Tommy out in the cold. Mm-hmm. So Ghost wanted to be clean, but Tommy didn't want to be clean. So and thank God Tommy called Angela first though before he was ready to take Dre out, because she kind of saved the day when she told Tommy like, look, just arrange this fake little shootout and we'll get him to go back on the original plan, which was to implicate Alicia.
And that just shows how cunning Tasha.
That's Angela.
I mean, Angela is.
Oh yeah, she's black-hearted too.
Mm-hmm.
She is black-hearted too.
They all. There's no love for anything in this. Angela and Tasha could be Siamese twins, or let's say Astro twins. Okay, they don't look anything alike, but they are dangerous.
Oh, they are
dangerous women.
Mm-hmm. And that tells you something about the type of women that Ghost is drawn to.
Here we go.
I'm not criticizing.
That's on both of them.
That's not a criticism.
Right.
That's not a criticism.
So you're saying he's drawn to strong
absolutely.
women.
I'm saying he's not going to be with a dumb chick. He's not going to. She's going to be strategic. She's going to be a boss in her own route, right?
Which again, kind of goes back to what I was saying about Ghost in terms of his intellect and his ability to make decisions, good, bad, or indifferent. But it takes a person of that caliber, because then we got Tommy, who deals with the lower end of that.
And emotion and stuff,
right?
yeah.
And the women that he deals with really don't have too many brain cells upstairs. So.
Well, they don't have the depth. Because Holly wasn't dumb. She just was foul.
Well, she wasn't dumb, but she wasn't...
Holly didn't have no moral. She said, I'm nothing but a thief.
Right. That's what it is. She didn't have a moral compass and things, but she wasn't
she
dumb.
wasn't the brightest light.
No, she wasn't Tasha.
Yeah.
She wasn't,
By no means... by no means...
Oh, no, I'm
not... She anything like
well,
that.
I agree. And she was definitely not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
No, she
You
wasn't.
know, she had really, like, tunnel vision just like Tommy does.
Exactly.
It's like you see your target and you're going after it, but never, taking into consideration that there may be other factors involved.
In fact, I think she'd still be alive had she sat back, studied more, and actually tried to understand what that family relationship was about before she started sprouting out at the mouth and trying to get Tommy to believe he was something that he isn't.
Well, she made her mistake when she tried to make Ghost choose between her and Tommy. Tommy make Tommy choose between her and
Ghost. But that's my point. Had she sat back and tried to understand the dynamics of that family.
Right, because that's why I was just like, you try to come in between
But that's
them.
where that tunnel vision came in, like you said.
But what she wanted was the life that Ghost and Tasha
had.
Exactly.
So the thing is, they're not cut out for that.
Exactly. Right. And while we're speaking about Tommy and his relationships, I just want to talk specifically about Tommy and Keisha, because we seen at the opening scene that Tommy's back to snorting crack, the coke again. I said crack. No, but
his product.
We ain't seen that in a while.
Yeah.
Tommy hasn't been doing his own drugs in a minute, and I was just thinking about that because I went back and rewatched season 1, and I'm like, Tommy was on the coke hard, and I just started thinking about this season. I'm like, I ain't seen him do it at all. This episode, that all went out the window. He was all up in that stuff.
Yeah, after Teresi, that threw him for a loop.
Yeah, he was in a deep depression almost.
It's funny though how such a killer, a ruthless killer, can have such a
soft underbelly.
Yeah,
because Tommy's very in touch with his emotional side. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
But you're a ruthless killer.
Hey,
okay,
he has. I feel like he's like Jekyll and Hyde. He has that dual personality going on.
But Ghost has a soft underbelly too when it comes to Angie.
Yep, that's true.
A lot of people don't see it, but when it comes to Angie, that soft underbelly is exposed.
Right.
He loves her.
There's nothing wrong with him. I'm not saying, but he's also a ruthless killer.
Right. Yeah.
That's you just said that about Tommy.
No.
But Ghost,
I do not look at Ghost as a ruthless killer. I look at Ghost.
Ghost killed an entire
But there's a difference. Ghost is a calculated
killer.
He's
not
exactly.
Ghost isn't just gonna walk up on somebody. Like I said, Tommy would kill a stray dog because it's in his way. Look at you.
I'm looking at you. I know he would. I'm not defending that because Tommy is a ruthless killer.
Right.
But Ghost still has the same.
I am not saying that Ghost cannot kill or won't kill but Ghost, for the most part, kills when he has to.
Right. He's
or
calculated.
to justify means.
Right.
He does that to do that.
But it's a killer. It's still ruthless for you to be able to kill somebody.
But there's a difference.
Yeah,
but the only difference is in him being calculated.
Right.
Other than
that, the fact is, it's still ruthless.
Tommy's impulsive, Ghost is calculated. But they're
still ruthless. That's the point that I'm making. They're still ruthless killers.
No. But the thing is, with Tommy don't need a reason.
Right.
With Ghost, he's more strategic. He's basically.
And that's how I define it.
It wasn't strategic when he killed Silva. That was emotional.
Oh, but the thing is,
Silva. But that's going to be a factor next season because Silva was supposed to show up to that meeting, and the fact that now he's missing is going to be a problem for them.
Yep.
He just created another problem. So, and then when he killed Lobos, Ghost reacted emotionally. If they would have they could have killed him and hid the body. That caused a problem. That's how they found out they knew So sometimes Ghost, even though he's methodical and he's calculated, he's smart and all that. Sometimes Ghost loses his cool too, and he can be that wasn't smart for him to kill Silva.
I think the emotional side of Ghost is what ends up leaving a trail behind.
Yeah,
right.
That ends up becoming a problem later.
Exactly.
But the thing is, that's where literally Tommy and Ghost differ, because Tommy would have killed them all.
Yeah. Tommy told Ghost to kill Maria the first season.
Tommy
he sure
will
did.
not leave.
Not because he had some magic, not because he had a crystal ball and he saw that this would be a problem.
He knew it was going to be a problem.
He said,
when you leave witnesses, it's going to be a problem.
Well, but what was she witness to?
Basically, she's testifying to his voice being heard.
But we do know that kind of
is difficult to prove.
Exactly.
It is.
But now they're saying the case is not over. Yeah. The case is not over
because there's look,
grasping for straws.
Grasping for straws, and any piece of a straw will work. For them.
But if you put that information in front of a jury and you have a convincing witness,
exactly. And you heard what Tamika said. She's a sympathetic witness.
Yes, she's a sympathetic witness, but one witness that only has a voice recognition does not.
I agree with that too.
Right.
But it could be.
But on top of everything else that they have, and that's the
nothing.
thing.
That's
now, if Angie's plan had worked, they would have been fine without this Maria thing. This Maria thing is a wrinkle, another wrinkle.
I agree to that. It's a wrinkle, but definitely not.
It's not a slam dunk.
No,
but
isn't.
It's a wrinkle.
Yeah,
I'll give it that. But nothing more. And so, to me, it didn't matter whether she lived or died.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if you go on the street,
it does matter because she's
alive
to tell the
story.
story.
I have to go with you on that one, Ron, because the thing is, Ghost finds a way to wiggle his way out of every situation.
But he wouldn't have to wiggle his way out of this one if he listened to
Tommy
in season one.
Right.
Because she would have been
dead
and gone.
That's the difference between the ruthless killer and the one
Well,
who said,
right,
and
he didn't take care of business.
Exactly.
Okay, so much for him being calculating and taking care of business. Because now it's coming back to haunt him.
Personally, I can see where if you want to call that a mistake, I'll call it a mistake. Just because I'm looking you dead in the eye.
It is a mistake.
Okay, if you want to call that a mistake,
Maria is standing.
Tiffany, if you want to call that a mistake, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you only because, in conclusion,
viewers,
we now know that
should Ghost have killed Maria in season 1 or not?
Yes.
She wouldn't be in season 5, season finale, with his life on the line.
I'm glad we got some wine after this show, because I'm sure we're going to need it, Bob.
Hey, speaking of that little incident at the QCP ceremony, Ghost was real quick to go and talk to Tasha about Silver and why she was still...
Okay, now, you know as well as I do, yes, he has eyes elsewhere, but he still loves himself to Tasha.
But
that's some chocolate...
That's double standard, though.
It is a double standard.
Yeah, it is.
It's him wanting his cake and eat it too. He still wants to sit there. It's that's still my wife. But yet, this is my girlfriend over here.
Yeah, he planning on riding off into the sunset when it's over.
And
when it's over. But you sit up here trying to get
not only that, but who told Tasha to keep screwing Silver?
Angie.
Keep screwing him until I tell you to stop.
And who didn't mind?
Well, clearly she didn't.
Ghost is over there waxing with Angie.
That is not why she didn't mind. Don't
Ghost, she cares about Silver.
And she also was manipulating him.
She's manipulating him too, yeah.
Exactly.
But my point about that was Ghost didn't give that situation a chance to play out because Tasha had that situation under control.
And that's why I need to get in Ron's tail right now about Silver. Because you said that Silver left because of just a subpoena, and some of you commenters said that too.
Well, he definitely because of the subpoena.
But he left because Ghost pulled up on him like he was the equalizer. Ghost pulled up.
What did he say?
Ghost should have stayed in his lane. Tasha said, "I got this." And when Silva came and he met her in the hotel lobby, he said James threatened. He said, "I'm sorry, but James threatened to go to the ethics committee and blah blah blah." Exactly. So that played a factor in him skipping town. Yeah. And y'all said that had nothing to do with it. It was just a subpoena.
No. We did not say it had nothing to do with it.
Y'all did.
No,
you did.
We said that
we're gonna play it back.
We're
gonna play it back.
It was the subpoena.
Rewind.
What we were saying. No.
They swore up and down. He's not built for that life, which he isn't. I do agree. Right. Silva is not built for that life.
I agree.
But the subpoena helped. But Ghost didn't help matters by pulling up on Silva. And he said
Did you open that bottle of wine before we
nope.
end the show?
But Silva told her. He told her.
We also said, Tiffany, if you just calm it down and bring it down and point. We also said that because of the subpoena and Ghost coming to him with, well, if you don't do this, I got this on you. And all of that is what made Silva disappear. You were saying that he disappeared because Ghost came with that bravado like he's going to kill him.
He was threatening.
He did. He was menacing in his approach.
And his approach, but it wasn't his approach that got Silva on the run. What got Silva on the run was that subpoena and the fact that Ghost said, if you don't do X, I got Y.
But Ghost didn't have to do that.
Silva knows what Ghost is capable of.
We're not arguing that.
That's what I'm saying. I knew it was a subpoena too, but Ghost coming, he didn't have to. Because Tasha had already told him she had it on lock.
Did he know that?
Tasha told him she had it on lock.
No.
And then he went and he
saw
it.
That?
But it don't matter. He didn't let the situation
play out. He didn't let it play out.
Just like he didn't let this situation play out. Now Silver's dead, and I guarantee you next season,
it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. And she already told him she had it on lock. And had he not gone, had he not killed Silva and just let Silva show up and sign the papers, they would have been in the clear. But now he's missing. Why? Because Ghost took him out.
So what evidence do you think Ghost possibly left behind that might point to
the fact that he is a prosecutor and he is missing and he was working with the feds is gonna look really suspicious. Mm-hmm. And see, had he showed up for his meeting with them with his attorney, he had already agreed to help Tasha out. This would have gone away. His subpoena, the motion they filed was to squash his subpoena. All you had to do is just show up.
Okay, I'll give that one to you. But here's a checkmate. It's like everything else that they've done. It's like all the other murders that they have under their belt.
You got to look at the fact that Silva also came up with a MIA act.
Yep.
On Tasha.
Mm-hmm.
So this could exactly. So this could be another MIA that he's pulling.
Thank you.
So it may not necessarily point back to Ghost because he could say, "Look, he disappeared before."
Yeah, until they see him in that garage, slumped up in the car.
Yeah. Because
I
hope that garage don't have cameras.
Well, but the thing is, with Ghost and Tommy, they have a way of making people disappear to the point nobody finds them.
Oh, they might not find them.
He
probably at the chop shop.
Which is why I'm saying it may not necessarily it may not be as harmful a situation as you think, because
it's going to be an issue next season.
Whether Ghost left the body in the garage.
We also thought that Maria wasn't going to be a problem season 1. Here she come back season 5. So stuff from the past
we
continues
still don't,
to come back and haunt them.
Because remember, earlier on, they admitted that her alone is not enough to convict.
I'm just saying about the situation itself. We didn't anticipate her coming back up ever again.
Right, but with Maria, the thing is, she's got to also understand that she's very vulnerable. You are entering to an arena that you're also very ill-equipped for. And then you've got crooked feds that are also are at work.
Let Tommy talk to Maria.
Oh, absolutely.
There ain't going to be no talking.
And that's the thing, it's tunnel vision with him.
She may think that she's okay.
But she doesn't know Tommy Egan. She even said that. She was like, she heard ghosts.
Yep.
Right. And let all Tommy needs to do is whisper sweet nothings in her ear, and all of what she thinks she might do, bye-bye.
Right.
Well, the thing is, just like he told Angie when she was talking about, well, I will just move. Well, he'll be there too.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll find her.
Yeah. And back to Tommy Egan, because we talked a little bit about him and Keisha, and Keisha. She had a moment right there when she was about to be gone.
It was looking real shaky.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Tommy is a killer personified.
Yeah, I was nervous for Keisha.
I actually, it was at one point, I thought Keisha's gone.
Me too, because last week I said Silva and Keisha were the two that were going to die this episode. Now one of them, Silva, that came true. Now, when I see Tommy reaching down the side of that couch with that gun, I was like,
when you pull
here
back
go my
the hammer,
prediction.
when you pull back the hammer on a gun, you need to take somebody out. It's one thing to point a gun at a person and the hammer is still, not cocked. But when you push it back, you're ready to fight.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking when he did this, I'm like, oh, she's dead.
Well, Keisha wasn't saying the right stuff at first, and then he was like, "Well, I'll look out for you, but if you want to go,
what Tommy needs though is a pledge of loyalty, and that's not what he gets from people. And if you look at Holly, she claimed she gave it to him, and she betrayed him by going out here getting ready to put a hit on Ghost, and now she's gone. Teresi was the same thing. He wanted that pledge of loyalty. You are my blood. And at the same time, you went out here and turned on my friend. Never mind how it happened. Still, it was a pledge of loyalty. And had Keisha answered wrong, it would have been lights out.
Right.
Well, she could have canceled Christmas.
I think I really know who Tommy's father is. It's Trump.
Oh, here we go.
No, Tommy would take him out.
But
it's all that loyalty discussion.
Tommy wants family. Bottom line,
right?
He wants a family.
He does.
But by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And no matter who it is.
That's his only. I told you he wears his heart on the sleeve. And with Mock showing up. I'm sorry, Sax showing up at his door and kind of telling him the truth about Teresi not snitching on him, playing that tape for him. That kind of got Tommy in his feelings because I'm sure he knew that Teresi had to go, but that guilt.
Tommy is like
I agree with him showing up, but the fact still remains. Sax brought information to him that proved that Teresi was a snitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Tommy does not like disloyalty.
Right. Well, it's the fact of who you're snitching on. Tommy appreciated the fact that he wasn't going to snitch on him.
He was,
But because he was going to snitch on Ghost, he still had to go. Which is why when Keisha came up and was like, "You did it, didn't you? I understand why you did it." And he's like, "Oh, you understand?" Which means he acknowledged the fact that Teresi still needed to go.
But earlier on, he said he's a snitch, and that was the end of it. He did. Tommy does not like snitches. It's just
that's the rule of the game.
Exactly, and that's the rule Tommy follows. Which is, and I have to say that's why I was a little bothered by the way he played that role in terms of now. Okay, yes, you found out the Ghost went behind your back. Gave the photos to Vincent, and they were, had pretty much made a pact that you would take out Teresi. I can understand him being upset over that, but losing it in the fashion that he did, I'm still a little confused.
No, I'm not. I'm not, because that's supposed to be his brother, and you and we talked about this offline, and I know we disagreed. I think. I understand why Ghost felt like he couldn't tell Tommy, because he wouldn't listen. He had been telling Tommy all along.
Right.
So I get that. But the fact that he went to the mobsters and told him and gave him the proof and put him in a position where he had to, because Vincent really didn't give Tommy a choice. He was like, "I'm not asking you."
Yep.
He was, "I'm not asking you gonna do this, or you're gonna, you're going to jail or whatever." Like his life, he put Tommy's life on the line. He put him in a difficult position. He was gonna kill Teresi anyway for being a snitch. But the fact that his brother put him in that position is why it hurt him. And I feel like
I agree with that. I agree with that. But at the same time, you got a point too.
No, right.
I agree with that. But the thing is, that was his boy. That hurt. You went behind my back. You went to the mobsters. So yeah, he's gonna have feelings about that. But at the same time, he wasn't gonna listen to Ghost.
Right.
But he wasn't. But I feel like
had pictures.
Exactly.
Ghost had pictures.
But even if he had pictures, Tommy's way of thinking is he doesn't think chronologically. He would have thought, where'd you get the pictures from? He would have went on that rampage.
He was doing it with Vincent.
He would have been on that, exactly. He would have went on that rampage, and then Ghost would have had to say, "Well, I got him from Angie." You and Angie? No. Any mention of Angie
He could.
Well, that's why I agree with Ghost going to Vincent, but he shouldn't have said, "Oh, Tommy will take care of it by himself." He should have said, "Vincent, like I know you got some hitters. Like we need to take this guy out. He got dirt on both of us."
He should have. His hand shouldn't have been.
Tommy shouldn't have been involved.
He shouldn't have been on it. Yeah, he shouldn't have been.
He should have got Vincent.
He should have. Yeah.
His hands were already. If he took those pictures taking those pictures to Vincent, his hands were already.
I don't know. Right, but I don't even know if he should have done that.
Well, if he's not, if he, and that would be my point. Either do nothing at all, or suffer the consequences. He could have.
I mean, he needed to know. He needed to know. Mm-hmm. But the way he did it, I don't know.
Well, you gotta admit that when you have evidence that falls in your lap, that's that conclusive. I don't think you spend a lot of time mulling over in your head. What am I gonna do?
No, so that's to say he should have handled it.
No, I'm saying so. What Ghost did in that regard is he had the evidence. It was quite clear and convincing. I'm going to give it to Vincent to try to maneuver this thing so that Tommy.
He said Tommy will take care of it himself.
Yes. Because he wanted
we won't have to do anything.
He wanted Tommy to be okay with taking care of it. Here's the evidence that your father is what I've been trying to tell you he is all along. Here's the evidence, Tommy. So by Vincent coming to him and saying, look, we got to take out your dad because your dad is just talking to the feds, yada, yada, yada. Tommy would have been perfectly okay with that. Yeah, he would have been perfectly okay with that. So, again, was it a mistake?
But he had to know that if he found out that he was involved in any type of way, that Tommy was going to have an issue with that.
But honestly, would you, if you were Ghost, how could you determine that Tommy would find that out? Because basically...
He doesn't know Vincent. So Vincent had no loyalty to Ghost.
Right.
And so, I would have been worried about that. You know, he told him, he said, tell him whatever you want. Vincent told him the truth.
Yep.
So, I mean, you don't know. You can't trust this man. You don't know him.
Exactly. But I think that he was probably on the thinking in the fact that it's just going to happen in the order in which it's done. That it's thought.
But if you think about historically what the dynamic between Tommy and Ghost has always acted on Tommy's behalf. He's always done things for Tommy that he doesn't communicate it, but and Ghost does have good intentions, but it always backfires. Season 3, when he sent Holly away, and Tommy found that he sent her away on purpose, that created a rift in their relationship. When
he didn't kill her,
he did. No. He did. I mean, well. He didn't at that point in time.
But he was
still upset about that. And they wasn't talking because of that.
Yeah, they weren't talking.
Yeah. And
they didn't start talking until after Holly was dead.
Yeah. Again, and as I said offline when we were talking, that what precipitated all of this between Ghost and Tommy is that Tommy wants to be kingpin, ahead. He wants to be just like Ghost. And so he'll listen to anybody that will stroke his ego and make him think that he can be Ghost. He cannot. He does not have the mental capacity to be Ghost, and nor does he have, shall I say, the compassion in some sense, because you can't be that high up in the drug world and be such a ruthless killer. You just can't. You have to understand there's a time to kill and there's a time not to kill. Tommy doesn't have that.
Well, I think with that. That's true. But I think he showed that he had a little bit when he spared Keisha. Because Milan told him to take Keisha out, and he hid Keisha away rather than kill her. So he did. And then he also, and then Milan also told him to kill Father Callahan. But he was like, let me do this one good thing. He defied...
he loved
exactly. So he had a little compassion in a couple episodes when he was supposed to kill folks and he didn't.
Well, but those are people close to his heart. I can understand that, But anybody else, and I do mean anybody else.
Yeah. Oh well, if he doesn't know you, of course.
Yeah.
If he doesn't love you, you're good as dead.
Well, my only thing with this is the whole snowball effect of everything that's happened this episode. And Tommy now knowing the full truth about everything that Ghost has done behind his back.
Trying to take out the connect.
Now we see where Tommy has landed in this mental state where he told Vincent, I still got one more thing I got to do. And who does he go to kill? That bullet was meant for Ghost. Now Angie in her quick thinking turned him around and she ended up taking the bullet But if she hadn't done that, Ghost would be good as gone.
What was he
She
thinking?
risked it all. What did I say about her for the D?
What was he
She
thinking?
definitely took a bullet for the D.
So now you
I'm like, Angie. I'm like, Ghost got that bomb. Clearly.
Tiffany.
You don't even know what to say.
He got that bomb. He got that work, clearly.
I have no words for you. Okay?
But see, that's what it goes back to Ghost and his decisions and his miscommunications. And it's landed Tommy, as we all know. Ghost is his brother. They have come up to. He's thinking about. I've been loyal to this man since a child, and he continues to throw me under the bus.
Yes,
over and
that's
over
what he's
and
thinking
over
about.
again.
What
he's been loyal.
What he is thinking is that I have come to a point where there is absolutely no use for Ghost. I can do everything for myself. And he
says I can't trust him. That's the point that he's coming to. I no longer can trust him.
That's almost self-evident. I know that he feels as though he can't trust him. Hell, who can trust anyone in that show? But my whole point is, he is at the point that he feels as though he doesn't need Ghost. So what could he have been thinking about had he taken out Ghost?
Well,
Ghost is not in the game anyway.
No. Had he taken out Ghost?
I think that was he was acting out of anger. And
right.
he would have definitely regretted
He
that.
would have paid for that.
Yeah, he would have.
Because once he seen Tasha's reaction, the kids'
How
reaction.
about Angie's reaction?
He don't give a dog about Angie.
He may not care, but by killing Ghost,
he would have had to kill her too.
Exactly.
And he would have had to go because she would have been a witness. And we know Tommy don't leave no loose ends.
And he hates her anyway.
Exactly.
It would have been nothing.
When him and Tasha rolled up on Angie, he was ready to shoot her in her house.
Right. But you gotta think, Tommy don't believe in leaving witnesses.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So he left Ghost. That's because of that love, that bond they have. And while they might be at odds, maybe in future episodes, I still think that bond is still will be there.
And I agree 100% because I have a twin brother, and we used to fight like cats and dogs.
Has your twin ever tried to shoot you in the head?
Right.
Okay.
That's a whole nother level.
I'm talking about the
because not only did you try to shoot me in the head, you shot the love of my life. And now, if Angie survives, she gonna know that Tommy tried to kill her. Ghost already knows that Tommy tried to kill him because he knows that bullet was meant for him.
Exactly.
But he also knows how irrational Tommy is.
He's not gonna forgive that. You see that scream, and the way he looked, the fury in his face.
He's gonna have to forgive him.
Yeah.
If Angie dies, I don't think he's gonna be able to forgive.
No.
Okay, so let's play this out. So he doesn't forgive Ghost. Rather, Ghost doesn't forgive Tommy. What next?
Oh, they're gonna be at war. Season 6.
Exactly. A short war.
Possibly, but it's gonna be an issue. It's gonna be an issue.
But because they're tied together through all of these situations that they're all implicated in,
and
they're gonna need each other too.
And we also know throughout episode 6, I cannot see Tommy or Ghost dying in episode 6.
Season 6.
Right.
Season 6.
It could be too. You got Tyreek that's trying to come up to be the next kingpin too.
Yeah, we
now,
didn't see him.
I could see Tommy and Tyreek getting together.
Oh, I don't.
Okay. Well, I say that to say, if
to go against Ghost.
Yes, because if
but
Tommy,
he loves Tariq too much to do that. To
well, he may, but he also understands. Look, for him to get to that point to kill Ghost, how much could he care?
Well,
how much
look,
could he care?
that I think that was pure impulse. I don't think he thought about all the consequences that could come.
Here we go.
I agree.
I'm glad you said that. Pure impulse, because that's what my point is. He can't be a kingpin of sorts because he acts impulsively.
Yeah.
And he kills impulsively. So
that's his downfall.
That is his downfall.
If it wasn't for that, Tommy might stand a chance.
Yeah, because he's not. Tommy has all the elements necessary to be a kingpin in terms of knowing how to run products, distribute them, knowing how to bring people together to do what he wants. He has that. I agree. But what he does not have is the ability to control himself. And with that, he wouldn't last long.
Right. Yeah.
And I have to say that if it weren't for Ghost, I think Tommy would have been either in jail or dead a long time ago.
Well, because Ghost is his protector, and like I said, even though he has good intentions and he does things to protect Tommy, his communication is where him and Tommy fall out because Tommy doesn't know that he's trying to protect him.
Right.
But they need each other.
They
exactly.
do. That's what I'm saying.
It's a love-hate relationship, and that's exactly the way it will remain.
Right. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit on Tasha and Keisha's situation too, because they had a big falling out, and this is the reason why I believe Tasha is on the hands list this week.
Yeah, she is.
Because of the way she dogs Keisha out. Like, Keisha has been her friend through thick and thin, lied on the stand for her, watched her kids, everything.
For a few handbags.
For a few handbags.
Used handbags.
Yeah.
I think Keisha
and even as
con.
Yeah, and even as Keisha is sitting there crying her eyes out, Tasha just walks in like, you still gonna lie for us? Like, you don't even see the fact that I'm crying. You ain't ask what's wrong. Nothing.
Trash
They
friend.
said, you were crying about this? I mean, come on.
It really one-sided. Yeah, she's real selfish.
And again, that's really all I've been trying to say throughout this whole season, that I cannot point my finger at Ghost being the culprit or Tasha or Angie. They are so interwoven, so connected. They're mutually inclusive in terms of their culpability and their problems and all the mess. They are equally made to order here. They come together like a hat and glove.
Yeah, Tasha was dead wrong for that. I don't know about y'all predictions, but I don't foresee Tasha and Keisha making amends anytime soon, because Keisha already has this mistrust of her, and she's already telling Tommy like, we can ditch her and Ghost and do our own thing. I don't see Keisha pledging her loyalty to Tasha anymore.
I agree. It's gonna be like Ghost and Tasha against Tommy and Keisha.
Yep.
That would be interesting, but I think Tommy still cares a lot for.
That's the thing. He still cares for Tasha,
and that's her only saving grace, really.
And I think that with Keisha and her ability to just do a 180 on her emotions, I can see her forgiving Tasha.
I don't know. She might get in Tommy's ear and say, "I thought you said that we weren't messing with Ghost and Tasha anymore." And she might try to keep
Well, she
Tasha.
tried doing that for a minute, but
But now that he knows about the Ghost situation and all that, she might be really in his ear, like, no, we need to do our own thing.
Yeah,
but I still think Keisha has some proving to do.
For sure.
Because literally he was ready to take her out, and then she answered correctly. Now here comes the test, because he said you might have to do this again.
Right. I
You
agree.
know, so it's some test that's gonna come.
I can't see I just can't see the truth. Tommy, if he leaves with Keisha, he's alone. Keisha has nothing to bring to the table when it comes to that kind of lifestyle.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
He's laundering his money through her shop.
And
that's the only thing.
And that will come to a halt.
Yeah, because Tasha was doing the books.
Exactly. Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Another big thing that happened this episode, it was kind of a small scene, but it was a big deal. Mock has decided to take the job in D.C. Because previously he had been snooping around trying to get Rashad to be an informant, but now that, Angie has got away with the whole case, he's like, forget this, I'm going to D.C.
I don't blame him.
He's looking out for his career.
Yeah,
exactly.
I ain't mad at him either.
I'm not mad at him. It's a step up in his career. He can wash his hands of a very messy situation.
But guess who he's going to D.C. with?
Well,
Steve Tampio.
But hey,
I'm still not convinced that he's not a dirty cop. I think Steve
I know. I don't
is still
trust
dirty.
him either.
Yeah, and I think him and Mock, my prediction is that Steve Tampio and Mock are probably going to be in D.C. conspiring against Angie. I still think she's going to live.
I think she's going to live too.
Well,
I think she's like going to maybe be in a coma or something next season.
please write her out. That shot was right to the heart.
That's
Please
not
write
going to
her out.
happen, because if you watch the episode with Courtney at the end, she talks about how Angie was the hero of this episode. So I think she really likes that character.
Was the hero. Yeah,
That
is a past tense.
Yeah.
So I
I think she really likes that character.
right.
Well, I do
Well,
think.
maybe there's another character looming in the,
Well,
wonderful
that's the
world of-
thing. I think that the show could stand to do without Angie, because either way, Ghost and Tommy already done their dirt. They still in trouble, whether Angie's there or not.
In fact, I think I said something to the effect in one of the other episodes. It was really the only way out for Angie, because I couldn't see Angie going to jail. Her own lawyer said, if you go to jail, they will kill you. because of your position. So, unfortunately for Angie, blood out.
Right,
That was
and
really
then
the only way for her too.
I mean, this like I don't know, it's becoming a little redundant with Ghost and Angie going back and forth and trying to get back together, and they still don't trust each other. And she's questioning him about if he killed Silver. He's questioning her about Maria. Well, he doesn't even know about Maria, but if she's the female that's going to testify, and they just constantly going back and forth with this mistrust and breaking up and getting back together, and that's been going on for seasons.
And not to mention, she now being directly involved in at least what, 2 murders, 2 or 3 murders.
3.
Yeah.
So you really indoctrinated yourself into this gang.
Well, she told Paz that. She was like, my career is over anyway. She acknowledged that when she met with her sister.
And so blood in, blood out.
And not only that, but I mean, I don't understand. Well, I get it because Ghost is clearly whipped. But Proctor been telling him over and over and over again, like, leave this woman alone.
Right.
She means you no good.
Right. And so let me ask y'all, do y'all think that Ghost will become more ruthless in the future?
If she dies, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
And how about the fact that in the after show, Courtney Kemp mentioned that the reason behind Terry getting killed by Ghost was because he still has a little bit of feelings for Tasha. And so I'm like, well, I wonder if Angie being out the picture might not, rekindle
give them
things.
a chance to, and then with Silva being gone, thanks to your boy, Ghost.
I like that.
But if Tasha figures out that Ghost, if Tasha finds out that Ghost killed Silver, I don't know.
And then, if she finds that out, she's gonna be done with Ghost.
She said she was done with him.
Not that she was
done.
I mean, but not that she was so in love with Silver. It's the point that he felt the need to act on her behalf. Like, what are you doing, Ghost?
Exactly. And that's what the issues I have with Ghost.
We brought that up though a long time ago that the two of them will find their way back together. They have to. They need each other. You cannot separate the two. No matter what, all of what they've gone through. To me,
they deserve each other. They're just alike.
And season 6 will make them stronger because they really need. And if Ghost opens up the territory to Tasha, oh my gosh, the sky's the limit. That woman she's a snake in the grass. Look, you don't see her coming.
That's true.
You just don't see her coming. Open up the territory. Give her some more responsibility.
Yeah.
Look, get another CPA. Y'all need her out in the street. Because that girl can work some stuff.
Well, do you guys have any predictions for season 6? We gotta wait a whole year for that.
Gosh.
A year.
I can't believe that. A whole year.
I predict that Angie is still gonna be alive.
I think so too.
The beef between Ghost and Tommy.
Yep, that's gonna be definitely
it's gonna be a
topic of discussion all next season.
Yeah,
I think Terry Silver's death is gonna make things even worse.
I do too.
Of course you do.
Because it is. Ghost should have stayed in his lane. It was handled.
Let me see. Who else? I think Dre is still gonna be an issue.
I think so too. He on witness protection.
And Courtney also mentioned that too in her after show comments that Dre is more valuable alive for them. And I think
not in witness protection. So I see. My prediction is Dre is gone within the first 2 episodes.
Well, he snitched on. He signed a paper saying that Alicia and did these things so that Jimenez is gonna be after him.
This boy is under witness protection. So what is he not doing? He's not dealing in drugs. He doesn't have a mafia.
His crew is gone.
His crew is
but
gone.
if Steve Tapia is connected to the Jimenez and stuff, like, I don't trust him.
I don't.
Like,
Steve is down in D.C.
Steve is connected to the Jimenez. He was the reason why the Jimenez walked the first time they got locked up.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe it was. I don't know.
I don't know. I think.
But I can't. My point is, all of his protections, his walls that he had, are now gone. So
I agree.
I cannot see keeping him beyond the first 2 episodes.
But he's Ghost 2.0. He's supposed to be the finesser.
And I think once he finds out that
Tariq is Ghost 2.0. So you can't have the two, because how do you explain someone coming out of witness protection to go back into the game? That doesn't.
I don't know.
Bode well.
Well, yeah, especially after 2-Bit already knows he's a snitch.
He's
And 2-Bit also knows that he's a liar because of that whole Brock situation.
Exactly. So if 2-Bit doesn't take him out, certainly the Mafia will.
He might try to sneak up on 2-Bits though, because once he finds out that
In
2-Bits is
witness
working.
protection.
No, I'm talking about once he does if they find a way to bring Dre back, he probably come after Two Bits and Spanky for working with Tommy.
He should. He really should.
Well, but I think he's always going to be a marked man, though.
Yeah, he
definitely.
Is.
You know,
he is.
Yeah,
and he's got it coming from both ends. He can't turn around, nor can he move forward.
Right.
The man he's in a box.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, this has been fun. Man, I'm honestly surprised by the end of this season. I'm mad that it kind of closed out and just left me sitting there with a black screen and no music or nothing. I was just stuck with my thoughts like, did that just happen? Yeah, it was a really good episode. I thought that the episode where Kanan died and even the last episode, those were definitely season finale worthy. So this episode, I mean, even though Angie and her character getting shot was a big deal for this episode, it wasn't as action packed as the other episodes, and I thought that those ones probably could have been finales, really. But nonetheless, it was a good episode, and it gives us a lot to think about in the off season. And all those months that we have to sit and harp on it.
But I want to really give kudos to our viewers. Your comments have been insightful, funny. We had a few knuckleheads, but you know, even with those, we were able to see some humor in that as well. So, to guys, I give you
yes, indeed.
You know, the hands, but in the more approving manner. Stay tuned. We are having other shows to talk about. We're going to have other topics, relationship topics. So we want you to stay with us. Hang in there because, you know, next year we will be here with power. So just hang in there with us.
Yeah, and thank you guys for joining our live broadcast. We're actually looking at some of your chats right now. I'm looking at some of y'all saying that Tasha's going to try to kill Ghost, and other people are saying Tasha won't be with Ghost, which, I mean, I agreed with that.
I agree with that.
Kat Harlem, hey girl.
Hey Kat.
She said Dre will be back in season 7. Angie and Ghost will have to be apart. The summer baby says, I'm so upset. I don't want Tommy versus Ghost.
I don't either. I do not like them at all.
I don't want that either.
We have to find a way to get them back together.
Yeah, I don't like them at odds.
Okay, and Reed, thank you again. He said, great show, guys.
Hi, Reed.
Yeah, Reed been going in the comments.
What did he say? I know, you can't talk about his boy Ghost. And Ghost gets the hands this week, Reed.
Hey, Reed, I'm on your side. I got you.
You're always on his side. Ghost gets the hands.
Lenora Wilson said Tasha really showed her true colors this
Thank
season.
you, Lenora.
And this episode, most of all, she showed she didn't care about her friend, and I feel she wanted Angie dead because Terry broke her heart.
Yeah, Angie looked like she was shocked. She thought Tasha was her girlfriend for real.
Yeah, they were looking at
you want white and red wine. And Tasha was like, yeah, she did show her true colors.
Yeah. Tasha was ruthless by leaving that door unlocked. We didn't get a chance to really talk.
Cold-blooded, ruthless.
Yeah, she was. Oh yeah, she was
just
take her out.
around
I mean,
she's
to
ready
tell
to
you.
fight.
Yeah, she was.
That is a king cobra right
Oh
there.
yeah, she was. She's a snake. I can't argue that fact.
Sagittarius says, I wish they would take more risk and kill a main character.
Oh, no.
I can't take it. I don't think my heart can take it. Especially not Tommy. That's my boy.
Oh, yeah, I already said
I like Tommy
Oh,
too.
but it's coming.
Eventually, when this gets to a
you got
close,
about, a couple more seasons?
once this show comes to a close, I think
Right,
a lot of main characters are gonna go. I don't see this show
probably in the last season.
Yeah, I don't see this show ending on a happy ending. It's not gonna be a happy ending at all.
Okay, Tanya Reed says, please add her to the show. Ron, that's the backup you need.
Right.
All right, let's see who else is talking. It says, Reed and Sagittarius and the summer baby, y'all are all going in the comments. I see y'all back to back to back. Killmonger says about Tariq, maybe he will stay in school. Tariq wants to be a full-time drug dealer, not part-time. All About Me says Ghost will kill Tommy next season for sure.
Oh no, I hope not. He can't touch.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that happen
Neither
either.
of us want to see that.
Yeah, Young Brave, he said Ghost gonna go full Tommy mode next season.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, y'all talking about his compassion about Tom. Well, this might be in reference to Tommy.
Let me Ghost.
Oh, y'all having a whole conversation up in here.
I do like that about you guys.
Yeah,
I appreciate in the comments that you guys are also communicating with one another.
Definitely.
That's cool.
Okay, it says, I agree with Ron on Tommy. Wanted to be Ghost and run his own org after Ghost. Said he want out, but he needs someone more strategic at his side. Keisha is not it.
Boom.
No, Keisha isn't it. Keisha isn't it.
Ron, speak that truth, people.
My peoples.
I think Tariq will become part-time drug dealer working for Vincent. I think that he's already on the track to do that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Ray didn't treat Destiny good. She might be okay with him being dead. Hey, you never know. I think that's not the last we're gonna see of what's her name? Destiny either. Tommy wasn't ready to listen to anything that Ghost had to say, so he had to use a third party to get through to Tommy.
Thank you.
I agree
with
what
I've
that.
been saying.
Yeah.
Did I not say that?
Yeah, you said that, but it still doesn't take away from the sting. That's why Tommy feels the way he does, because it was Ghost.
That's a consequence that Ghost had to take.
Yeah, and
And
Angie's life is on the line now.
Well, she was
that was the risk
Tiffany,
he took.
Angie was gone anyway.
That's the risk he took,
anyway.
and Angie, we'll see if she's around next season. So thank you, Ghost. That's why you get the hands.
Let's see, Reed. I agree with. This is Sagittarius talking to Reed. He said, "I agree with. She cannot facially recognize Ghost and will not hold up under cross-examination, as her boyfriend was also a drug dealer who got killed.
Exactly.
Maria is a non-issue.
Exactly.
She's not credible.
No.
Tariq was on timeout for the season finale. Let's see. No, don't back down on that one, Ron. Silva would have dropped the dime after the legal pressure if he let things play out with Silver.
Okay, so
what
I'm getting
Give it up, Reed.
Give
it up. Silva came back.
That are with me, and what I've been trying to tell you.
It's the same people that's with you. What are you talking about? It's the same people that's been with you.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
But Silver's not about that life.
He's not. No, I agree.
Yeah,
but my issue with y'all is that Silva, Ghost did not help things when he went to impress upon. That's what I'm saying. You were like,
I'm not sure what whether or not he went there or not. Silva probably still would have done the same thing once he found out that he was now involved somehow in a matter that he didn't want to be involved.
Right.
The man was a straight.
Oh, yeah, he's a straight up. We knew that. We knew he wasn't about that. Like, we knew that.
So any kind of twist to that.
Well, that's why Ghost didn't need to go. After she had already done that, Ghost didn't have to follow suit. Now Ghost took the man out.
What is it?
Let
me ask you. But let me ask you.
That's not gonna bode well next season.
What does a period do to a sentence?
End it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all Ghost was. Ghost was a period.
Well, is it gonna end it next season when they find out he's missing?
Yeah.
No, they're not. There's gonna be an issue next season.
No, it won't be an exclamation point.
What
happened?
Exactly.
Kat Harlem says Keisha has always been jealous of Tasha. They haven't been true friends for years.
That's true.
They never mentioned Keisha except in the $350,000, $500,000 from Tasha for them running drugs through her shop.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
She was happy to accept that money.
Yeah.
Kat Harlem also says, I thought Tariq was fabulous in the season finale. That's the way I enjoy seeing him in the show. Not there at all, apparently.
Right.
Reed is back again. Regardless, Silva was dropping a dime no matter what Ghost actions weren't a factor.
And it was a factor, Reed. It was a factor. Ghost pulled up like the equalizer. Oh, he's just gonna be Team Ron, whatever. Go ahead, keep supporting Ron.
It's sad that intelligent-minded people can't have similarities in decision and thoughtfulness without this person thinking that.
Well, can we agree that Ghost was also jealous when he saw Tasha?
I definitely.
Yeah.
Look.
Double standards.
No. Let me tell you something about a man who is married or has been married or is getting a divorce or whatever. He doesn't want to see.
He don't want her. He don't want nobody else to have her. That's what he didn't want to see.
He doesn't want to see it. Did you see the look on his face?
Well, he shouldn't have been stupid there. He was in the garage stalking. What was he doing there?
Are you women telling me that a man shouldn't be snooping? You all are king snoops. If y'all want to find out,
if you don't want to see the truth, then don't go digging.
Why was you? Yeah, you were the one hiding behind the pillar, the column.
Wait a second.
But he was following up on his interest.
Exactly.
And you know the
I'm
thing
blown
is, never
away at
mind
you
the
all.
fact that
you were disinvited from coming back on the show.
That's it.
You know why I live? My door is always open
Because
to you.
y'all two together.
She's telling
Right,
the truth.
but I'm saying, you know, he should have been snooping on.
No, but what I'm saying is he's following up on his interest. He's making sure she follows through with what she's supposed to do.
But y'all see
He
the
knows
other
that
side.
she's emotionally invested in Silver.
Uh-huh.
So he's following up. Like he got more than what he bargained for.
See,
He
that's what you
saw,
get.
he
That's what
saw
you get.
too
Yeah.
much.
Agreed.
He sure did.
Agreed there.
He saw too much, and
I
that's
agree
why
there.
he killed
And
Silva.
you know what?
He need to do the In My Feelings challenge. Okay.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he really does. He really does.
Well, his feelings have been taken
She
care of.
Angie doing it for the D challenge, and he gonna do.
And that's why Silver's neck is broke.
Exactly. Well, see, he breaking Silver's neck, but he was gonna ride off into the sunset with Angie.
Why
They
do
kept
you
talking
keep-
about when it's over.
Why do you keep
Because it's a
these
double
two
standard.
things? It's not a double
It's
standard.
a double standard. You got a whole side chick over here, and you worried about what Tasha doing. Get out of here.
No, I think what it is backwards. He had Angie, the girlfriend, and Tasha is a side chick.
Tasha is still his wife.
Yeah, but she's
No,
still
you're
a
missing
side
the
chick.
point. You're
Yeah,
missing
you
the
missed the
point.
point.
He
She's
married his
right,
side chick. That's
Oh,
what
I
I'm
know.
saying.
Oh, I
Yes,
hear that. But right
exactly.
now, she is legally his wife. So
Right now,
he
she's
shouldn't be
legally
worried.
and has always been his side chick.
But
The
he
only
shouldn't.
thing
He shouldn't
gave
have been
her-
worried about what she was doing then.
The
There
whole
was no
point.
reason to snap
And you know
Silver's
something?
neck.
If she wasn't his side chick, he wouldn't have had her sign that
The prenup.
The prenup.
Basically.
Well,
He wouldn't have done that.
I mean, but one condition of the prenup was whoever cheats first. So if Tasha would have cheated first, she wouldn't have got anything in that divorce settlement.
Well, but the
But
thing
because
is,
Ghost
whoever
did,
he
cheats
did.
first, I mean, what a thing to put in a prenup. Whoever cheats
I'll
first.
tell you what it is.
Because the
You-
thing
you
is,
know
that's
what
the
you're
sign.
marrying.
It's about
Yeah,
disloyalty.
Because you know what you're
exactly.
marrying.
Exactly.
You're not marrying the truth. You're not marrying for
No.
love. You're not marrying for the sanctity of marriage.
No.
You're marrying this woman because she fits.
She was
you.
a business partner,
yes.
right?
And she
yeah,
fits
she was
you.
a partner.
Which
Exactly.
is what I've been saying all
Well, that
along.
was in season 1. I told you I went back and rewatched season 1, and Tasha
Yeah.
said that in the story of how they got engaged.
Yeah.
It's because she took the gun that he had in the car and put it in her
Well,
purse.
then why be mad? Because she waxing poetic like you've been doing. That's what I'm saying. There was no reason for him to be mad.
It's
He
a
took
sense
Silva
of
out.
possession.
All right. Uh-huh.
No, we all have it. Women have it and men. Y'all always talking about.
What is the mother of his children?
Lord, they
Right.
got him chiming in. Ron, get her a chair.
What?
Yes, keep her on the show.
Who said that?
Read. Sagittarius says, I'm a woman and I don't believe it's snooping. No one wants to see all that Ghost saw.
I hear that.
And she
I hear
says,
that.
yes, I agree with Ron and the other lady. He was with Angie first, though, in high school. She went upstate to choke.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Reed
he was with
said
Angie
he was
first.
mad because that's his wife.
Right.
Well,
I get
well,
that.
I think it's more so she's the mother of his children.
Right.
Because wife is only entitled for them.
Mhm.
And you already had a prenup to say whoever cheats first. You're not really endeared to her. You're endeared to her because of the kids.
Right.
Now with Angie, there was no stops that he would not pull out for her.
Right.
He loved that woman, and
Yeah.
he was willing to go to any lengths,
Right.
even as far as changing his lifestyle.
Mhm.
So that's who he really wanted. And Tasha recognizes that.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
I agree with that.
Well,
Did I argue that point?
They
Did
got
I argue that point? That was never my issue.
It is an issue because it's what you've you've been saying
Go ahead. What?
Well, in the comments, they kind of debating back and forth. They saying that Tasha did cheat first because of the whole situation where she was
with Sean
and playing around and teasing.
I love this. I love you all. Thank you. I love you all.
Look,
Ghost consummated the relationship first.
Yes.
She was wrong? Was it inappropriate for what Tasha did? But Ghost had sex outside of the marriage
Ghost
first.
was hitting that before he got married. So Ghost was hitting that.
But when you hit it after you are married, it is cheating.
It was not a marriage. It was an arrangement that was disguised as a marriage.
A marriage.
Why can't you?
It was, but it's still marriage. In the eyes of the law, they're still married.
Well, Cat Harlem says Tasha cheated first physically and Ghost cheated first emotionally.
Physically?
Well, I guess you meant physically by playing with her.
Exactly. That's sex.
Well, the thing is, she
no.
Okay.
Well, but you could already tell if she was doing that with Sean. She knew what she was doing.
Exactly. Oh, she did. She was manipulating Sean.
There was some sort of emotional void that she
had.
She
was doing that to Sean and manipulating him to keep. Yeah, it was trifling. She was doing that so she could control Ghost. Remember, she was trying to keep tabs on Ghost, and so she was playing with herself.
She was so desperate, and
she was
him.
desperate.
She was crying in the closet with her mama because her mom was right about how she couldn't keep him. She was desperate.
Yeah, she was. Because I think,
okay.
No, she thought. Remember, she was so sure that Ghost wouldn't cheat on her first until her mom told her like, "There's always another ass out here." Until she saw Angie.
You know what? That is so contrary to the fact of how and why they got married. First of all, you got a prenup. You're talking about whoever cheats first. Now, how in the world can you have a prenup with all that in it?
And because it was a marriage.
Excuse me. And then you can't see that somebody here at some point is going to cheat?
Well, I think Tasha's point was she expected Ghost to be loyal to her and to their family, and she was living in the clouds, even when she was expecting Ghost to stay in the game, regardless of all the things.
But with a prenup like that, you can't have any sort of reasonable expectation that this is going to be a true marriage. This person loves you. He's endeared to you, the whole bit. When you're saying whoever cheats first, it's a convenience. It's an arrangement at that point.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
But Tasha fooled herself into believing it was more than
and it wasn't even that. You know what that was? That was that sense of I'm the shit.
Yeah, she did have
I got him so wrapped up he can't think of anyone else. That had nothing to do with whether she thought their marriage was so solidified. It just happened to be that she thought she was the shit, and then she had him wrapped. And we find out.
She thought that, and she thought they were partners. And she said that to him in season 1. She said, I thought we were partners.
They weren't partners. They got married on a partnership. Right. Their whole marriage is a partnership. Everything that they've done so far has been a partnership. The only thing they did was use a piece of paper and ink to make it look like it's legitimate.
Right.
That's all.
But the thing is, if you look at the acts that she had with Sean, she's enticing him. Seriously, when you start looking at all those different things that she's done, she's been doing that to basically try to get Ghost's attention.
Exactly. That's why she did that with Sean.
She already knew she did not have his heart. That is the bottom line.
She was trying to get information because Ghost wouldn't give her any details about what he was doing. And she said it on the phone when she was talking to Keisha. She was like,
Tanya, I'm about to move you center now.
But pretty much, she said that though. She said that in season 1 when she was saying to Keisha over the phone. She was telling her how she used to be playing with Sean and everything. She was trying to keep tabs on Ghost.
But you know the vulgarity and all that? Because, and I said it before, Sean was like
he was a kid.
A brother. A kid. And then,
was a kid.
Then he was almost like a stepson. And for you to even contrive a situation that you would be doing that to a person that you pretty much treated like a son is rather low, about as low as you can get.
Okay, but we said earlier, Tasha literally is like a little snake. She slithers around.
Tasha is slithers around. She looks out for herself. She does what she needs to do to get what she needs.
She serves her
Use
own
what you got to
interest.
get what you want.
Which is again, it just explains
Tasha is something else.
That whole relationship with Ghost and look, again, let me say this clearly. A donkey cannot have 2 heads. There has to be an ass. Somebody has to be the ass. You can't have all this you can't have all this.
Ghost got with a 15-year-old and molded her to the woman he wanted her to be. Tasha was immature and her behavior with Sean was all she knew to do.
Right.
From Kat Harlem.
Now, thank you, Kat. I agree with that assessment of, because she was like young when she got with Ghost. She was like 15.
But you all are making it seem like the woman was from South Queens. She knew she knew the game.
She had game too.
She had game.
Oh, she had game too. Oh, she did have game.
Just because she was 15 does not say or make her so vulnerable. She wasn't one of those vulnerable teenagers.
She definitely wasn't.
Reed is loving Tanya and Ron.
Oh my God.
Ron, you two are dropping knowledge tonight. Sagittarius says, Tanya, yes, you are so logical. They over here just stroking y'all.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
They know the truth when they hear it.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it.
Lenora says, if you think about it, it was statutory rape. She was a minor. He was 20 at the time and a grown man. They're 5 years apart.
Yeah, but on the street they just got a different code.
What do you mean, but on the street?
No, it is.
Code,
right.
Exactly right.
It's different. And then the thing is, she grew up. I mean, look at how she grew up. It wasn't that Tasha entered into that whole relationship being naive and green. Exactly. No, she was street savvy.
Yeah,
so I mean, she had
street savvy.
to deal with a man like Ghost. You have to be street savvy.
Reed showing us love now. All right, Reed. Thank you for the love. Because he already gave you and Tanya the kudos.
What did you say?
Me and Tiffany get some love too now.
I'll forgive you, Reed. I understand.
All right, well, we could go on and on and on reading all of y'all comments. Man, thank you guys for joining us for this live recap, and thank you for all your comments. You guys have kept us here probably about 30 minutes later than we should have been. So this is going to be a long upload, but I enjoyed it.
No, it's not. No, and one thing about doing a live show, I don't have to do anything. It'll be uploaded automatically and for your review anytime you want to see it.
Keep the comments coming.
Yes, indeed. Thank you guys so much for joining us in live conversation. We enjoyed reading your comments and interacting with you. And let us know if you like this live feature, because we could continue to do this in the future if this is something that you enjoy.
And I think we enjoy it. I know I did.
Yeah,
I did
sure.
too.
I like getting your live commentary on the spot because it gives us a chance to address it in real time.
Hence our name, The Spot.
Real talk. Okay. And we will have some more real talk coming. Now the power is over, we will be doing more real talk conversations, and we'll also start recapping other shows. So please make sure you subscribe and click the notification.
He said thanks.
Yeah, Reed said great show. Thank you guys for a great show. Lenora said this was great. Really enjoyed.
Thank you, Lenora.
Have a good night. Kiana said good night.
Night.
Sagittarius says good night, you guys. That was thanks always for keeping it clean.
Oh, thank you. We try.
We do try.
Yeah.
Okay, and Kat Harlem says, bye, guys. I miss your Queen Sugar reviews.
Oh.
Okay.
I like Queen Sugar, too. We'll be back with those.
Yeah. All right, well, yeah, definitely let us know of any other shows that you're interested to as well, and we'll do our best to try to get caught up on all of those shows and make sure we can bring you fresh, new content that you will enjoy. So as long as you're subscribed and you follow us on our social media to get our notifications, then
and hit that bell for
hit the bell. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're at The Spot Real Talk, and we'll take your suggestions, and we will continue to provide content during this off season.
Do you guys watch Insecure?
Yeah, please let us know if you watch Insecure too.
And also Love Is.
Yeah, Love Is. Kiana J says Greenleaf.
Greenleaf. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Kay West says thank you for a great live commentary. Okay, yeah. So let us know. Keep the comments coming and let us know about more shows that you guys would like, especially some that are currently running. So I think I'm about to go upstairs to get me another plate.
Me too.
I want a glass of wine after dealing with
Right.
Nicole said yes, Insecure. Sasita says Insecure.
I love Insecure.
Okay.
So
it looks like we'll be doing Insecure.
All right.
Reed said The Shy. That's my show.
Oh, I love The Shy too, Reed.
Okay, yep, that's a good one.
Yeah, we gotta do The Shy.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been real. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Yeah, that was fun.